An idea. The spiritual community is always talking about how we need to be waking up the masses, and how at some point in time, if there's like some astrological event happening, then we need to stop focusing on the masses and kind of dial into self. But my thing is, my spiritual awakening experience, or just my deciding to give honor to what I've always had within me but never allowed to be expressed, that was personal. It wasn't me stumbling upon somebody attempting to wake up the masses. I was further educated, informed, and enlightened about things when I would go and search for the information, because now I want to satisfy my inner knowing. Now I want to validate and practice how I feel and what I know I can do from within me. Idea. What if, because I'm thinking about a balance, right? Balance doesn't always mean that it's an equal playing field. The perfect kind of tilt to create just enough of a flow of energy in one direction to keep things moving forward in a way that positively impacts all of the attached aspects of whatever it is that you're dealing with. So balance in what I feel is that because there is already an element of something that exists and has existed for a very long time, a piece of the reality that we experience has now been etched out specifically for that energy to be housed, which means if there are flying things, there will be flying things, because life doesn't end, it just evolves. Now, the types of flying things will evolve, and we've seen that. But there's always been an etched out space within the consciousness of our reality for things that fly. So if that's the case, then if there is a populace, if there is a percentage of beings that exist inside of a civilization, and that civilization has a certain kind of consciousness, a certain kind of consciousness. That's important, because a certain kind of consciousness means that there are different kinds of consciousness. So you have your quote-unquote chosen, your star seeds, your gods embodied in human form. But what if there is an etched out space for a consciousness that is not necessarily associated with the same consciousness that recognizes themselves to be from somewhere else, right? What if also it's not our responsibility, it's not in our interest to try and shift their consciousness, because that is their consciousness? And if at some point in their design from the Most High, or the source of all that allowed this imprint of a being, of a consciousness to exist, and at some point in time they will evolve into a higher consciousness of their own on their own time, then that means that when they get to that point, they will also do the personal work to go and find the information that validates and edifies what is now within them. Idea. If that would be the case, then that means that we don't have to wail away and shout from the rooftops about the falsehood and the reality that we are experiencing, because we know it. It's not in the interest of the opposing consciousness. It's not in the interest of the other conscious types. Instead, we should encourage to one another to continue to do the work. We should share the information that we have found within our search, We should share the network of others like ourselves who have access to even more, so that we can go at the speed that we require and desire when trying to fulfill, validate, and further evolve our new found or now appreciated form of consciousness, where we know that we are here for a particular purpose. And a lot of times what I would encounter on my search is that people who claim to be conscious would say that their purpose is to awaken the masses. And I disagree, for the very reason that I stated prior to this. I don't think our purpose is to awaken the masses as spiritual beings. I think our purpose is to defy what we're experiencing in order to give honor to what we actually are. By doing that, we would have come to a place where we are now exercising ourselves in a way that expresses our purpose. Like this right now is my purpose. And it took me years of defying my experiences to give honor to what I actually am in order for me to fulfill my purpose, in order for me to identify myself. We can avoid so much heat from those that have been put in charge to keep order over other types of consciousness, until the point in which they were ready to be able to take claim of themselves and go and do the necessary work. Just like infants. Infants are immature sentient beings. Infants are immature sentient beings, and that was validation. And they need supervision from mature sentient beings, because they were also incarnated within a physical body from a spiritual plane. So they are new to exercising this physical plane. And mature ones have been assigned the responsibility of watching over and caring for the new sentient beings within this physical plane. The same applies for conscious types and levels. I don't think that infants should gather together and plan an attack against the adults because they figured out that they were in a playpen. I think that they should take accountability for the fact that they needed the supervision in the first place. So to encourage a new and reformed way of coming into higher levels of consciousness and accepting yourself and finding your spiritual community and finding your teachers and things, we should do it in peace. Now that we understand that it is a part of the process of consciousness, we can create avenues to make ease of the process of edifying and further informing and refining your newfound spiritual space. The same way you can walk into a Walmart, my guy, and buy a pair of shoes in a new size, you should be able to walk into a communal space, easily accessible space that allots you the information and opportunity. You should be able to walk in and have access to a complete and capable library of higher consciousness, because now you're ready. Once the student is ready, what appears? Asheo. The same way I was ready, and when I looked for what I knew I needed, it appeared. So should we make spaces to normalize and encourage this process. Hence the Eve Restoration Network and Center. A network of people who know who you are and can identify what you need and have the information to help you further find more of yourself. a space, a center with the technologies, classes, the exhibits, the demonstrations, a center with true forms of agriculture that you know resonate with your spirit, foods that you know will edify the sentient bodies within you, all of the things to now feed the necessary parts of your new forms of consciousness. Asheo, your mother